What is emotional intelligence?
Hello. So,
Hi.
yeah, the question of the day, what is emotional intelligence? So, emotional intelligence to me is the foundation of communication. It's really everything. It's all about our self-talk, how we manage that in every facet of our life, from personal to professional, how to create awareness around that and to really build effective relationships through effective communication, breaking through barriers. Communication is everything. We're always communicating.
So
And
why would you say emotional Amber, why would you say that it's so important, emotional intelligence?
it really is a determining factor in how in our well-being and how successful we are in life. Because if anybody out there that's listening, and this applies to me, because I have been developing my emotional intelligence for years. And to that point, emotional intelligence, unlike IQ, you're kind of born with, it doesn't change a lot, but emotional quotient can be developed. So that's a really good thing. So if anyone out there that's listening to this has ever struggled with challenges in having effective communication, being able to get their message heard, having challenges with difficult personalities, having challenges in social settings or at work with colleagues, anything like that, emotional intelligence development, learning how to create that self-awareness and self-management in personal and social situations is incredibly effective in facilitating the strength of that communication, the impact it has on yourself as far as your emotional well-being, how you thrive personally and how you thrive professionally.
So who do you think should learn emotional intelligence or learn about how to do emotional intelligence development?
Well, I think everybody, because the world would be a lot better place. I mean, to me, it literally is the foundation of good relationships, and healthy relationship with self. So this is for everybody, and this can be applied, as said, to personal relationships. If someone is struggling and they feel like they're never heard, or they're never understood, or they're always having challenges with somebody else's personality or what somebody else does, or why did somebody else do this, or if they're at a work situation and having difficulty with multiple personalities, with leaders, with managers, it's really a skill for life that can be developed and help a person to feel more grounded, to feel more calm, and to feel more successful and actually rational in their way of communicating, instead of being driven completely by emotions, learning how to kind of disseminate and sort through that and to regulate those emotions.
That's great. Now, can you tell us a little about the work you've done using emotional intelligence and how you've used it professionally?
Yeah. And I didn't, really realize this. I mean, some people have a more natural ability, have a higher level of emotional intelligence for whatever reason. They're more empathic. They sense and pick up on moods, more than other people. And I've always been like that. But really, for me, I got into it when I was in my sales career. I was in corporate sales for a very long time. And a big part of that was facilitation and working with teams and groups and practices. And it always struck me, for myself, I had to be very aware of myself and my interactions and building rapport and relationships, and kind of getting through to people. And what I noticed also was there was a lot of what I would call, in groups and teams, challenges and how they communicated and with personalities. And I was always interested in what was the difference between practices or groups of people that were more successful and ones that just couldn't seem to get it together. There was always people that were leaving, sick, absent, incivility going on. And when I came across emotional intelligence a few years back, I realized that the emotional intelligence really was the key to the success, and the people that were successful in the businesses that I was observing and more successful in their life were higher on the emotional intelligence, way higher than the other people that were really struggling with self-management and self-awareness. And so emotional intelligence gave me the framework for it. And then I continued to develop that and develop programs around that. I started to do corporate talks when I was still in the sales arena on leadership, effective leadership and communication based on emotional intelligence. Then I went into the medical field with it and used it in everything that I did there, in helping to coach providers and clinicians on how to have better relationships with their team, but primarily with patients. And that can be a game changer in any business, because these skills are soft skills, and they're really the defining difference in the success, the cohesiveness, the rapport. It's everything that we want to be able to be heard and to have to have our communication heard and understood, and for people to open up and to accept us and to really listen to us.
Can you think of an example of maybe something one of your clients or one of the people you were working with that said that was so off the scale of emotional intelligence, and then how they would have reframed that, and with the use of knowing the knowledge that you've imparted on them, how they would have said it differently? Can you give us an example of something? Sorry, put you on the spot, but as we were talking, I was thinking that could be interesting.
I mean, I could think of so many situations that I'm trying to think of. I can think of one, I can think of several, but I can think of one person, a client in particular, and this is very powerful, that came to me, and there was real issues with the relationship between her and her husband, to the point that there was an emotional infidelity. And this person really wanted to save the relationship. She really loved her spouse. And I applied emotional intelligence. And what we did is I said, an emotional an affair, an emotional affair, whatever, it's a symptom. It's a symptom of something greater. And so when I talked her through the process, I said, if you can really look at self, come back to self. And I said, it doesn't excuse behavior, but if you can come back to self and see what's going on for you, and because we all have responsibility, and what meaning you attach to it, it's really, maybe you can salvage this relationship if you both want to. And so taking her through the process of, like, what did she bring into it? What was the root cause of it? And what it came back to was her awareness of her never feeling good enough, having a real kind of like sharp protective layer, always having to feel like she proved herself, to the point that she realized that she could be very combative and incredibly competitive. And what that caused in the relationship was that her husband was very opposite communicator. He was very passive, and then he just shut down. So he didn't feel like he could talk to her. So he got his emotional connection met somewhere else. So when we brought it back to the understanding of, it comes back to self and what we attach meaning to, and how do I manage that, it was beautiful. I mean, they were able to work through it. This example has been over 3 years ago, and they're very happy, and they were able to reach a higher level of love and understanding for each other. So that's a really powerful and great story, because when she came to me, it was really to deal with something else. And
Right.
where we went was somewhere she didn't even expect. And I've got several referrals from her. And of course, we did some hypnosis work, but it was really creating that self-awareness and having her look at herself and her own, like, well, what do I attach meaning, and what does that mean? And what does it mean if I look at this? And so to find the message in there for herself. And so I think that's a great example of it personally,
Great. And how do you feel, or why do you feel, or what would you recommend people to take? We're running a course in
Yes.
January, and we will do more beyond that. And a 2-day course on emotional development
Yes.
and emotional intelligence development, sorry. And the 3-day is also including it as a gateway to medical, working within the medical field and healthcare. Who would you say would be a good person to take this course? Do they need to be hypnotists?
Mhm.
Could they come from other realms? And what do you
Okay. Yeah.
think
So,
about that?
well, so what I'm going to say is this course is not just for hypnotists. It is for hypnotists. It's actually for anybody that wants personal growth and development. Emotional intelligence development is emotional health. And this course embodies and encompasses not just understanding what it is, but it actually is experiential. So people will learn techniques that they can apply to themselves. If they have a practice, they can apply it there. If they want to take that practice to approach businesses, they can do that. If it's a leader or a manager, a healthcare worker, they can use this to help themselves in the field or actually, do training on emotional intelligence. So it's not just about what it is and why it's important and gives you the background, but it is that experience where it gives you the tools and techniques to actually apply it so that you can have a life-changing experience. It's a game changer, in my opinion, for anybody.
Great. And a little bit more about the gateway to the 3rd day, the bonus day, Monday. Can you tell us a little about what people could expect?
Absolutely. And this is really, really exciting from my work in the medical profession. The medical field has a big initiative to really, really strengthen the patient experience and employee engagement. And actually, they're very linked because if employees are feeling really good and really well, then they can give a better service to the patients. So there's a huge initiative, and they're also surveyed on how they do. And so they're held to national standards. They're reimbursed if they're in a certain percentage. And so the dive into the medical field is really talking about how that all works, the inner workings of that, and how this work can impact those scores and actually impact patient satisfaction, patient safety, patient outcomes, patient loyalty. And also what happens for the clinician is they actually get the benefit of that too. When they're modeling this behavior, there's a mirrored effect that comes back because it creates a real awareness and a presence. So the benefits of that in the medical field are just exponential. Plus it cuts down on risk, litigation, and I'll give all of this return on investment as well in the 3rd day in the medical, as well as a coaching model and guideline that people could use and develop a framework for them to use.
And I remember when I heard you speak out in Heartland
Mm-hmm.
this year. One of the things you talked about, it sounded like the day 3 became almost like a turnkey operation because you're not starting from zero. That
Yeah.
there are materials there for you to the. Okay, go ahead. So,
Um, yeah, so you were asking me if it's turnkey. So yes, you will have all the materials. These materials that I've developed, and even in the first 2 days, there's going to be materials that if anyone wanted to present this to, a school, to a sales corporation, what you could do that. You could go in and present on emotional intelligence and have techniques in schools, techniques and tools to teach people, as well as um, uh, uh, shoot, I'm losing my train of thought. So tools and techniques in the framework. As far as the medical field goes, uh, the whole coaching model, how to approach it, the cost justification, the language that the medical profession speaks. So I'm going to kind of translate that, the sources, the resources, best in class, things of that nature will be on the 3rd day. So the material that I have is taken hundreds of hours to develop. And so it's, to me, it's invaluable. And so that would be something that the participants would have to, use and create a model based on that framework. And there'll be plenty of, it's very robust.
That's great. So I'm going to pause for a minute. So Amber, this is only a little of 3 days of what can be discussed. And I'm sure that 3 days could actually go into a week and so on. This is just the beginning, the touching on, getting going in emotional intelligence, or even for people that have taken it before, seeing it in a new structured way and how to use it out in the field.
Absolutely.
So,
and I've added stuff to it. It's very robust. So
great.
it's a learning, and it's an experiential learning.
Great. And we're both have lots of senses of humor. So this is going to be a fun class.
Well, humor's always good.
It's going to be held in two options. One, you are welcome to come to the Dave Ellman Hypnosis Institute, where Amber and myself and at least 3 or 4 of the students so far will be here. And that is in Henderson, North Carolina. Or you can stay in the nice comfort of your home or your office and take it as an interactive Zoom experience. You'll still get to do breakouts and do exercises with people from other areas that are not here, and also with the people that are here. So that would be great. So once again, if you'd like to find out more about this, my phone number is 252-432-2205. And I think I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Cheryl Ellman of the Dave Ellman Hypnosis Institute. Also, if you go to Dave Ellman Hypnosis Institute and go to products and courses, you will find the listings with all the specifics of the 2-day course and the 3-day course. That's Dave Ellman Hypnosis Institute. Be careful of the 2 E's. Be careful of the institute. I'm always messing up my S's and T's. Okay, and so just for a moment, let me share this. And there it is. So we hope to see you there. Please give us a call if you have any questions. We'll be happy to answer them. This is January 4th, 5th, 6th. Thanks so much. Bye.
Thank you.